Why do we feel so much pain? Why do we suffer? Suffering is all around us. Life is suffering. And why? Why do you suffer? Not saying what causes the suffering, not the external circumstances that have doomed you to this existence, but like, what is the reason for you to get up and do the damn thing, right? You got to figure out why. What is your meaning? What is your purpose? What is your drive, right? Otherwise, the suffering is meaningless, right? And we have a crisis of meaning today. Most people do not feel that they're suffering for a reason. And if you don't feel like you're suffering for a reason, and you don't feel like tomorrow has the possibility of being better than today, then why would you endure, right? We have people killing themselves at all-time highs, right? I've had multiple friends commit suicide. One of them hung themselves in a rehabilitation center. One of them shot themselves in the head and was suffering from extreme schizophrenia, right? They put an end to their own suffering, right? The list can go on, right? I did a bio cleanup, and I've been to the site of many a suicide, and I've had to talk with the parents of somebody who just blew their brains apart and go and clean them up in a Tyvek suit, all right? That is a very, very dark thing, to go to the house where a 16-year-old just shot himself in the garage, right? And see his parents. I've walked past the coroners carrying out the bodies, right? And it is a very, very real, visceral thing, the suffering that is endured by people on a regular basis. But there is a lot of good in this world, and it needs to be fought for. We create the world that we live in. We create our own futures, right? And if you do not have a reason for enduring all of this, it becomes a tremendous burden, right? Now, if you spend all of your time looking at the dark side of things, which is becoming increasingly easier, right? You can find yourself feeling like everything is pointless. There is no meaning. That's kind of the route that a lot of people are going. They're falling into deep nihilism. They resent existence and they resent their own lives. And then, of course, they have to resent themselves, right? They see themselves as the perpetuation of a long history of terrible people doing terrible things, right? We have the capacity to produce a paradise on earth. And the only way that this can be accomplished is through sacrifice and suffering and taking up responsibility for our own actions and our own lives. Now, this has to happen on an individual basis because the powers that be are definitely not on our side, right? The vast majority of these individuals think that there are entirely too many people, and they wish to have us all crammed into cities living in an environment that is designed to produce nihilism and narcissism, right? The rise of the individual. That is not the way that things will proceed, at least not for the long-term duration, right? We have to understand that we are all connected. We exist together, and we need each other to fulfill our own lives, right? You need to have a reason for being, and the best reason for being is love, right? As cliche as that is, all you need is love. But you need to love the people that are around you. You need to love your children, your family. And there is a huge thing right now to get people to turn against their parents because of all the horrible atrocities their parents have committed against them, right? Let's try and adopt a little bit of the other perspective, right? And understand that your parents are just as foolish as you, right? They had kids, probably at inopportune times, struggling with finances or whatever else, right? And how were their parents? Like, yo, if your old man did you wrong, maybe his old man did him wrong. Don't do your son wrong. We got to break the cycle of pain. We got to break this vicious, vicious cycle, tearing things down, right? It's for the first time in America anyway. Children think that they're going to be worse off, and they are, than their parents, right? Now, there are a lot of forces that are coalescing against us, and this is definitely an active measure, right, being done by the controlling elites. We are being treated as cattle. And this does cause a huge existential crisis within the population. Not to be all depressing about things, right? But we need to understand that we have value. We have purpose. We have meaning. You need to seek this out. You need to live in a state of becoming and improving continually, right? Fulfillment is what should be desired, not pleasure. Pleasure is something that can be induced chemically, right? But it is fleeting. Whereas fulfillment and accomplishment, right? Being happy with who you are because of what you've sacrificed in order to become who you are, right? Your perspective, you have never existed before and you will never exist again, right? At least not in this state, not in this time. And this is a beautiful, amazing thing. Your life is a gift, as is the life of every other person around you. Now, there are some shit people. You might be a shit person. I might be a shit person, you know? But I can be better today than I was yesterday. And one of the big problems is that people today, especially the younger generation, feels that the future will not be better than the past. And so they're not willing to sacrifice in the present in order to create a better future. So that will be a self-fulfilling prophecy. There are a lot of things coalescing on us as a species, as a nation, as individuals. But we do have the ability to rise above it. That is undeniable. We have unlimited potential as a species, as individuals on this planet. And there is a lot of things that are beautiful. There are a lot of things that are good, as with people. And we need to focus on that. We need to uplift and build up, not tear down, not destroy. We need to love ourselves. Don't fall into nihilism. Don't fall into this sociopathic tendency that is sweeping over the nation. Just people self-absorbed, scrolling through their phones for little dopamine hits, unwilling to sacrifice in order to acquire that which you desire, unwilling to help those people that you should love the most. All right, we got more in common with each other than those that want us to fight.